On this day in history, February 14th, 842, Charles the Bald and Louis the German swear the Oaths of Strasbourg in the French and German languages. Also, in 1349, several hundred Jews are burned to death by mobs while the remaining Jews are forcibly removed from Strasbourg. Included in the following is an excerpt from the 1944 edition of the Encyclopaedia Britannica, going over the history of the town of Strasbourg. Strasbourg has always been a place of great strategical importance, and as such has been strongly fortified. The pentagonal citadel constructed by Vauban in 1682-84 was destroyed during the siege of 1870. The site of the town was originally occupied as a Celtic settlement, which was captured by the Romans, who replaced it by the fortified station of Argentortorum, afterwards the headquarters of the 8th Legion. In 357, the Emperor Julian regained here a decisive victory over the Alemanni, who, 50 years later, reconquered the whole of the district. Towards the end of the 5th century, the town passed to the Franks, who gave it its present name. The famous Strasbourg Oaths between Charles the Bold and Louis the German were taken here in 842, and in 923, through the homage paid by the Duke of Lorraine to the German King Henry I, began the connection of the town with the German kingdom, which lasted for over 7 centuries. The early history of Strasbourg consists mainly of struggles between the bishop and the citizens. The conflict was finally decided in favor of the citizens by the Battle of Oberhausbergen in 1262, and the position of a free imperial city which had been conferred upon Strasbourg by the German king, Philip of Swabia, was not again disputed. In 1332 there was an internal revolution which admitted the guilds to a share in the government of the city. In 1381 the city joined the Städtebund, or League of Swabian Towns, and a century later it helped the Swiss Confederates at Granson and Nancy. The Reformed doctrines were readily accepted in Strasbourg about 1523, and the city was skillfully piloted through the ensuing periods of religious dissensions by Jacob Sturm von Sturmeck, who secured for it very favorable terms at the end of the War of the League of Schmalkalden. In the 30 Years' War, the town observed a prudent neutrality. In 1681, during a time of peace, it was suddenly seized by Louis XIV, and this unjustifiable action received formal recognition at the Peace of Ryswick in 1697. At the French Revolution, the city was deprived of its privileges as a free town. In the War of 1870-71, Strasbourg, with its garrison of 17,000 men, surrendered to the Germans on September 28, 1871. The city and the cathedral suffered considerably from the bombardment. The bishopric of Strasbourg existed in the days of the Merovingian kings, being probably founded in the 4th century, and embraced a large territory on both banks of the Rhine, which was afterwards diminished by the creation of the bishoprics of Spires and Basel. The bishopric was in the Archdiocese of Mainz, and the bishop was a prince of the empire. The episcopal lands were annexed by France in 1789, and the subsequent Roman Catholic bishops of Strasbourg discharged spiritual duties only. Strasbourg is the seat of a bishop, of a prefect, and of the departmental organization. There is a radio broadcasting station. Extensive improvement schemes were approved in 1924, including the harbor by a canal and a petroleum harbor below the town. In World War II, Strasbourg was occupied by the Germans in June 1940, and subsequently made by them part of the Third Reich. Numerous people fled the town, seeking refuge in the then unoccupied territory of France. Later, several more were expelled by the Germans.